A brief gaze into the abyss. Yeah, this is something you do not want to miss. No, I'm going to tell you what it is. Yeah, so you better be ready. Cause you know we're gonna uncover all the secrets. Yes, unlock the universe. That's just what we're going for. This is how you do. Yeah, look up in the sky. What's that? Ooh, that's a UFO. Ooh, is that a beaming light? Ooh, it looks so cool. I'ma just wants to go touch it. Hopefully, I'ma goes on a spaceship ride. Then he comes back, cause that's what I do. Roll high. Ooh, is that a big furry man walking in the woods? Ooh, hey, that's Bigfoot.
Welcome to A Brief Gaze into the Abyss, your only place to get tri-weekly spooky facts.
Tri-weekly?
Ooh, it's a tri-fest.
Well, first off, I think that actually means we give spooky facts 3 times a week. Don't think that's exactly right.
Yeah, we do not do that.
I mean,
I blame
we might
me.
just not record them. We're still giving spooky facts to people on the street. Like, hey, man.
On the street.
Yeah.
Actually,
like-
sadly, I kind of do.
It's like, hey man, hey man, I will suck your dick for some spooky facts.
What?
I'm kidding. I don't actually do that. Can we not say? Can I not say that?
You just suck their wiener?
Yeah.
You don't give them the spooky fact? Is that what you're saying that you don't do?
Yeah. I just suck it and run away.
Hey, man, where's my spooky fact?
You son of a bitch. They have my, there's a Polaroid of me at the, the local convenience store. Do not let that guy give you a blowjob, because he will not deliver on the spooky facts. Sounds like a cereal. Spooky facts.
Are we really going to start the show this way?
No. This
already.
This is filler that you can use if you like. Oh, I don't have enough time.
Like that ever happens with us.
Yeah, that's been our problem every episode.
Yeah,
we don't have enough to talk about. We can't just bullshit. Okay, so fair enough, Nikki. We don't give spooky facts 3 times a week. So instead, welcome to A Brief Gaze into the Abyss, where 3 buddies dive deep into strange things people believe in every couple of weeks. When we get around to it. And for the next couple of weeks, we'll be going in the way, way back machine to investigate the Pyramid of Giza.
What? I feel like
Pyramids.
you should insert like the Walk Like an Egyptian song at this point.
I honestly was wondering how long it would take us to reference that song.
Not long.
You are welcome.
And thank you, Philip.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
So we'll have a special focus on the big boy himself, the Great Pyramid of Giza, which after honestly way too much research and way too of my life, if you Google the pyramids at Giza, there's like a picture of the 3, and the one in the middle like looks the biggest. So I've always assumed that one was the Great Pyramid, but it turns out that the one in the middle was actually built by the son of Khufu, who we'll go into in a bit. His name was Kafir. I'm sure that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, totally right.
But it's the son of the guy who built or told people to build the Great Pyramid, and it's actually smaller, but on a higher mound of dirt.
That's actually what that, like, when you translate his name literally into English, it's the guy of the son who built.
Yeah, I don't know if I could have said that any clearer. I have it written in front of me, and it's still super smooth.
Yeah.
Anyways, so you can insert your obligatory internet Star Wars joke about having the high ground, but my favorite thing about that fact is it's like a super semi-lazy way to like say fuck you to your dad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
oh yeah, Dad, you got a big pyramid? Mine may be smaller, but it's on a pretty big hill.
Yeah.
Wasn't that kind of like the Statue of Liberty? Like, didn't we have to? The French gave us a statue, but then we built the pedestal that it's on, and we had to build it just a little bit bigger than she is.
No shit.
Is that true?
I didn't
That's
know
what
that.
I heard somewhere.
Really?
I'm not making it up, but it might have been made up when it was told to me.
I really like that saying. It's not made up, but it may have been made up by someone that told me about it. Dude, I was literally like looking into that. I was Googled Statue of Liberty, and what popped up in Google, I got Statue of Liberty space, and the next suggestion was Statue of Liberty, Egypt.
What?
What?
Are you Googling again?
I Google always.
No Googling.
I'm the mad Googler.
ABG, always be Googling. So, anyways, joining me today, I should probably introduce you guys. We've been talking enough. So here's your official introduction for today. My co-hosts are Indiana Nikki.
What?
Gosh.
She's Florida, Nikki. I'm from Indiana. Actually, I'm from Kentucky. But you can't tell.
Nikki, just say hi. Indiana Nikki,
Hi.
say hi.
Hi.
And my second co-host, you made me so mad, is Short Round Phillip.
Short Round. I'm Googling that because I don't know what it means.
All right, Google it, and it will make it's goddamn Indiana Jones and the little.
I knew you were going to do
just...
that. I was going to say, am I the little Asian kid with the New York Yankees?
Yeah,
you son of a bitch.
That's you.
I hate you.
That's why you can't be Indiana Phillip. You have to be Short Round Phillip.
Are you the love interest?
I assume in my dreams I am Sean Connery.
No.
Dapper. Dapper father.
You are not.
Yeah, we're gonna have problems with time.
We've got this, guys. We are gonna get done in no time. So, speaking of time, the pyramids are such a big topic. And there's just a lot of fun to be had with the pyramids. And we are really focusing on having shorter episodes. So this will definitely be a multi-parter. We'll be tackling this topic in this is for you, Phillip. We'll be tackling it in kids eating dinner rules, which means we'll first be reviewing the quote unquote facts, which we'll consider the veggies, and then we'll be in our second and third episode dive more into those sweet dessert conspiracies.
Yum.
So,
sorry.
So if you guys stay tuned, we will get you all your ancient alien needs, which surprisingly is a way more popular show.
I'm ready for some unami.
Oh yeah. So I think this is definitely our first topic to use the extremely technical term. I am not smart enough to cover.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Ditto.
Yeah. So spoiler for me. There are just so many compelling facts against a lot of the conspiracies.
Really?
But there's still it's kind of a bummer, but there's still a ton we don't know about the pyramids, and we will give you so many fun pyramid facts. And we'll really dive into, we're going to really make sure that we give these alternative thoughts some thought, and we'll have fun with them, and it will be a good time.
Sounds awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, you buckle up, buddy.
I got my strap on and I'm ready to go.
Oh.
No, I just meant I'm strapped in. Never mind.
I can see why your parents never took you on family car trips. Dad, I got my strap on. Just say seatbelt, Philip.
Nope, it's my strap on.
Grandma, get your strap on too. We'll have a strap on party.
Oy.
You know what I mean.
So, seatbelts.
Unami.
So before we jump into the facts, I just do want to say that Nikki and I had to dive into a bunch of information, so feel way bad for us. We listened to a ton of podcasts, we watched documentaries, and we read books. We will have a full list in the podcast description to make sure we give credit. But I do just want to shout out some special podcasts, Stuff You Should Know, and Science Versus. They're great podcasts, and they cover similar topics. Sometimes they've covered the pyramids as well. So make sure you check them out and listen to all the podcasts in the world. I would be so happy if somewhere down the line we got one of those two huge podcasts, any listeners at all, out of our little pocket at the internet that we're working with right now. So
Nice.
So let's get started. Indiana Nikki,
Hi.
when were the pyramids built?
I don't know. So, okay, the popular...
And that's the episode, everyone.
That's the whole thing. We
Yep.
told you it'd be short. So popular belief among historians, the people that are supposed to know what they're talking about, is that the Great Pyramid of Giza was built around 2500 BC for the purpose of being the tomb of King Khufu.
Nice.
Yeah.
It is such a fun name.
I know. I wish my name was Khufu, but I wish I wasn't white if I had that name, because then it would just be ridiculous.
Okay.
I'm just like trying to picture what a white Khufu would look like.
He'd probably look exactly like me, to be honest with you, because that's the kind of nerd that would have that name.
For all your all the listeners who don't know what Philip looked like, he has a huge afro. He's albino.
Yes.
And he has a golden grill.
Actually, that makes me sound cooler than I actually am. Anyways, Khufu.
Khufu. Yes. Well, that wasn't his only name. He had several names. This will actually come up a little bit in the next episode when we start going into like the conspiracy behind when the pyramid was built. But a couple of the names he had was, I'm going to butcher these, but Gnum Kuf, Khufu, and Hor Medjudu. Medjedu. That's probably more like it.
I'm so glad you have this part.
He was the second king of the 4th dynasty. I'm not going to go into all the dynasties. I think Zach's going to touch upon them a little bit later. But again, this is not a comprehensive episode on the ancient Egyptians. This is just focused on the Great Pyramid.
Yeah, there are literal libraries filled with books on the pyramids and Egyptians. You do it your damn self.
Literally libraries.
You want to go into the dynasties? Get out of here with your unrealistic expectations, podcast listeners.
Jeez, you're yelling at our 2 listeners.
Yeah.
That's my new...
Zach is pissed and he's not going to take it anymore.
That's going to be our thing. That's going to be what sticks us out from everybody else. We scream at our listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah. What podcast are you listening to? I don't know. I just they always yell at me and really get me more centered. And I think just what we're doing, we're making sure you don't get too full of yourself.
Yeah.
Keeping you guys honest. You're welcome.
Yes, you dummies.
Thanks for listening.
So I'm supposed to be explaining when these pyramids were built. Like I said, it was built around, they believe, 2500 BC. And the reason why, of course, we have a history of, all the different kings and stuff throughout. And they believed for a long time that the pyramid was built as a tomb for Khufu. But there was never really any proof of it. And even today, the only proof we have are like 11 markings inside the king's chamber that reference his name. So, and these were not like official markings. These were like gang marks. Which we'll talk again. We'll talk about that later, but they're not like it's not like when you picture the writing inside the Egyptian tombs and stuff like that. You picture those really beautiful hieroglyphics with the nice pictures and stuff like that. And these weren't like that.
No.
They were just it was like paint. They just painted it, and it wasn't pretty. It was kind of like done like slang. So that's really the only evidence we have that it was a tomb for Khufu. And those markings were found back in the late, I think it was 1865, by a Colonel Weiss. He did an excavation into the pyramids. At that point, we'd only gone into the king's chamber and then into the chamber above. When you go inside the pyramid, you walk in and then there's like a shaft that goes kind of downhill. Which really wasn't meant to be like walked through. So it's not like it's like this nice hallway or anything. It's this really tiny chamber. And then you can continue down, but it also then like veers up. And so then you start veering up and then you get into this grand gallery, which is a little bit of a bigger space. And you continue walking through that and you get to the king's chamber. And the king's chamber it's a more open room, and inside of it there is like a place where you could rest a sarcophagus. Of course, it was empty by the time anybody that in known history was able to go in there. And so there's that room, and there's nothing in there. There's no markings, there's no funerary equipment or anything like that. But then they're able to see that there's another room on top of it. And so it turns out there are 5 of these chambers above the king's chamber that all make one big king's chamber. Kind of weird the way they did it. But anyway, so this Colonel Weiss, he goes in there and nothing has ever been found still. Nobody knows, what this tomb was for. And he blasts his way through the ceiling of the chamber and he discovers another chamber. And then he named it the Wellington's Chamber. And then he continued to do this all the way up to the very top, which he called Campbell's Chamber.
Campbell soup.
Campbell's soup.
Sorry. That's usually that's how my.
But good.
You sound like my kindergarten teacher. No, you sound like my 12th grade teacher. Random. Like good.
So Weiss blasts his way through. The author that we're going to cover in the next episode, he goes into this a lot. He likes to say that Weiss blasts his way through. But anyway, so he opens these chambers, and suddenly, lo and behold, there are names written everywhere. And they're all the gang names, which we'll talk about. And that is how we believe that the tomb, that the pyramid was created as a tomb for King Khufu.
Khufu. West Side, motherfucker.
Gang signs. People with fun names.
Yeah.
Man.
They actually had a picture of Pac in there. It's crazy.
I mean, it really just makes me want to say, Wu-Tang Clan. All right. So we know officially when they were built. You know what's crazy is you think about it. We were talking about the pyramid. We were talking. Of course,
that was today.
That was just
we did that now. Yeah. Whoa.
We're currently talking about the pyramids. No, we were talking about the Statue of Liberty, and actually, it's funny. So when you watch all these documentaries, there's a few cliches that they always bring out. Someone found a great analogy or like comparison, and like it just like clicks and everyone sticks to it. Like one of the ones that people use over and over is like, oh, the Great Pyramid at Giza is taller than the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like, well, yeah, a
it's
lot of
like,
things
okay,
are.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a random thing to keep hearing, but you'll hear that all the time. But a thing that I found out thought was super cool was that the Great Pyramid at Giza was actually the tallest building in the world for like over 3,000 years.
Whoa, that's a hell of a
Yeah.
record, man.
I know. It like didn't it held it until like it was made in around, like Nikki said, around 250 BCE, 2500 BCE, and then like it doesn't get topped until like 1100
Wow,
BC.
That's pretty
impressive.
cool. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you can't argue the ingenuity of it. I mean, it's just freaking insane. Sorry, that was really shitty. Just don't put that. That was like the worst
We
comment
expect more
ever.
out of you, Philip.
I know it. That was awful.
All I want, Campbell soup?
Campbell's soup. I heard Campbell's.
Isn't that's such lazy writing for Campbell Soup? Wasn't that their slogan for a while? Just good.
Yeah, man.
Wait, it worked though. You
freaking
just said
remember
it.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
someone got paid for that.
Yeah, someone got paid a lot for that. Someone got paid, yeah, I'm just going to say a lot for that.
Whoever that person was is like my spirit animal. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's like definitely something I would do. I'd be like, oh shit, I didn't do my homework. And then they'd be like, all right, Zach, what's your idea for the slogan? Good? And
Brilliant.
because I'm a white male, everyone would think it was brilliant.
Yeah, yeah.
You're the new CEO.
You're so privileged. They, yeah, it should have been salty.
Adequate.
Yeah. I'm gonna shit myself. No, actually, it's not that bad. I was just trying to one up Zach. So.
And that brings us to our commercials for today. We are brought to you by Campbell's Soup.
Brought to you by ExxonMobil. We need to work that in like every episode. ExxonMobil.
All right, so let's dive into how the pyramids were built.
Aliens.
God, I fucking wish.
I'm supposed to say that.
You're converting me, Nikki.
Woo! So here's the rub. We still don't know how they were. We're not completely sure how they were built, but we have some pretty good ideas on how parts of it were built. But because we're not totally sure, this obviously leaves the door open to a lot of the different theories that tie back to who built the pyramids and why they were built too. And we will definitely dive into those theories next episode, so tune in. Was that spooky enough?
Not at all.
Damn it.
Like if I let someone suck my dick for that spooky fact, I would be a little disappointed. That's our scale for spookiness.
Would you enjoy this after a blowjob? Good to know. Good to know. That's a good scale. It's important to write that kind of stuff down.
Yeah.
For
I'm not letting
prosperity.
my mom listen to this episode.
Yeah. All right. So, like I said, we know some things, or we think we know some things. So we know who built the pyramids. So for a long time growing up, I don't know about you guys, but I always heard slaves. And even in like today, like in movies and pop culture,
Yeah.
when you see who's building the pyramids, it's always slaves.
Well, yeah, there was that movie in the 90s, the Prince of Egypt.
Mm.
I love that movie, but now I know it's wrong. Well, on more than for one reason.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was
Forgot
the
about the whole
biblical
Moses
story
part.
of Moses.
Yeah. And there was that one movie, the slaves built the pyramids, that like really like played that pretty heavy.
Campbell soup. But it turns out, though, that theory, it basically that the slaves built the pyramids, that was just an idea that came from the Greeks. And basically, 2,500 years
Of
after the
course.
Great Pyramids were built, the Greeks came in and they're like, how would I build this?
Exactly.
And another Greek came in and he's like, I don't know, I get a bunch of slaves to do it. And they're like, that's how they did it.
Yep.
So even today, like that kind of myth persists, but they've actually found some. I guess, Nikki, would you call it a city? They found remains of
I would call it a city, definitely.
yeah, they found remains of the workers who built the pyramids, and it's not the things they found aren't they don't
like
point to slaves.
their bones were like they could tell they lived like they ate adequate food. They they didn't eat like like just bullshit that was just like scavenged for or anything like that.
Yeah,
like
absolutely,
they could tell they
Philip.
were taken care of and stuff. So it's like, okay, these bones don't look like slave bones.
Yeah, that's 100% right, Philip. This is the first helpful thing you've ever said.
Wait a minute, what about Campbell soup?
So, like Philip said, there was tons of proof that they were well fed. It looked like they had access to things like beer, which makes me happy. And then
makes me want to build pyramids.
That does seem like a dad Saturday afternoon. You don't want to hang out with the kids. You have a few brews. Let's build a pyramid.
Yeah, in honor of me. For cuckoo.
Our wives won't come in. Dudes can just be dudes.
It'll be my man cave.
Anyways. I got stuck in my own fantasy there. And like Philip also said, their bones actually did. Their bones were buried in ways that indicated that they were from higher social status. So archaeologists are pretty certain that they were actually not built by slaves, but rather a workforce.
What's the like the head archaeologist? What's his name? Damn it. Because that's actually where I heard that
Bob Breyer?
No, Zahi Hawass? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Wow.
Yeah, I know that name.
Yeah. I watched a documentary once on that, and that's actually where I heard that from. And like that guy's like he's really into that shit.
How long ago did you watch that documentary, man?
Oh my god, it was like 4 or 5 years ago. It was before I moved to Florida.
Jeez, you made us do all this research when you knew this shit already? God damn it.
No. That's as far as I go.
Yeah, he did pick this topic too.
Yeah. Just so you could get that one fact about you knew that it wasn't slave.
That's completely all it was. Yeah. I'm out. See you guys.
All right. Before we jump off, who built the pyramids? I do just want to say I also did look up. Almost every site that I saw gave a slightly different estimate for how many workers built the pyramids, but the one that I will share to you is 30,000, about 30,000. And the only reason I'm sharing that to you is because it is from Harvard Magazine, and I think that sounds fancy.
Yeah, incredible, right?
Yep. So
maybe
there's a conspiracy behind that.
Yeah,
too.
Liberal media.
Liberal media. So we know who built it. And what did they use? Well, they used big old rocks, to use, again, a technical term. Not smart enough to do this.
Was it granite?
Gosh darn it, Philip, that documentary did you so well. But
No,
it was
that was actually just a guess.
So it was mostly actually limestone. But they did use granite, especially on the interior walls. Another cliche pyramid thing that if you watch a lot of the documentaries, they'll go to the insides of the pyramids because these workers, like some of the things that make it so neat is like they're so precise how they laid these bricks, these huge stones together. And almost every documentary, I don't know if you saw this, Nikki, but every documentary would like mention like, oh, they're so precise, you can't fit a credit card through them. And then even some of them would be like, it'd be like the infomercial where like someone does something basic, but they can't do it. And it was just this guy trying to put a credit card between the two rocks. And he's like, it won't fit. It's like, thanks, man.
Yeah. It's like OJ trying on the glove for you guys that are old enough to remember that reference. He's like, I don't know, it won't fit. It won't fit on my hand. Hands are too big for this glove.
If the credit card don't fit, the aliens must have built it.
Nice.
I'm gonna make that our description.
Yes. Yes, it should be. So I consider my joke not a total flop because it actually like that came from that. So thank you, Zach.
I just came up with that on the fly. That is not written, so I'm very proud of that.
Yeah,
that's the rhyme that didn't work.
Yes, that is the that's the caliber that everyone's listening to right now.
That's what our 17 listeners tune in for.
18. I told my
18 now.
18. I told my hair lady. So, I mean, my barber.
Well, now that she knows you don't know her name, she's gonna stop listening to.
I know her name.
You call her hair lady.
I just didn't want to embarrass her.
She doesn't want to stay humble, hair lady. We don't want to get you too much notoriety.
Oh my god! So I hope she actually listens now.
That's how. So I did get one person to listen by being like, "I gave you a shout out in the episode." So that's what we're just gonna literally have to say everyone's name. We're gonna start reading the phone book. Hey, we gave you a shout out, John Smith.
Yeah.
So they mostly use limestone.
Though back to how tightly fitted they place the rocks. That's like out of all the questions about the pyramids, that's the one that they still they don't know. They
because
don't understand how they were able to move those. Like we know how they got the rocks there and stuff like that, and possibly but we don't know how they were able to stack them so close to each other.
Yeah. Like they have some like neat ideas about how they like leveled the ground and how they found true north. So what a lot of archaeologists I found, because like even the stars, obviously it was 4,500 years ago, like the skies were totally different. So the North Star that we use a lot of time, which obviously isn't like true north, but still it wasn't in the same place in the sky. So they would actually just use just any star, and they would watch where it rose and at dusk, and then at dawn they would see where it set, and they would split that 180 kind of arc, and then they would use just right angles they'd use that to figure out, okay, true north is there, and then they basically just use right angles to like figure out.
So fucking awesome that they did that. I mean, that's amazing. That's so cool.
It's so cool.
That's really fucking cool that they were able to discern, figure that out and just do it. And that's the thing too. I always thought about it with the pyramids. It's like I think everybody it blows everybody's minds, which it should. I mean, because it's like they're amazing, but everybody see it like it's like impossible because they imagine themselves trying to do it. It's like, well, wait a minute, these people like really believed and like God was going to smite them. You know what I mean? It's like they had a lot of motivation. Time was perceived so different, than we perceive it. So, I mean, it's like, oh, this is going to take 120 years to build. Hey, that's great. That's not too long. It's not like you're throwing up a fucking McDonald's or something,
So it's like estimated that they really only took like a few decades, so like 20, 30 years to build.
Nice. That's cool. So
they were like pumping these out. One of the estimates said that they were moving like 300 of these huge stones a day. Like they were pumping this stuff out. So that's like one of the most amazing things about it.
Man, religion can make you do stupid stuff.
Or awesome stuff.
Or awesome stuff. Very cool. Very true. Very true.
Yeah, this is, I think, a good plus. But we'll get all into that. I've been holding in all these pyramid facts all week because, like, No one on the street wants to talk to you about pyramids. Like, oh, isn't it cool that the stars would raise it? Like, there's no way to.
Unless
Unless what?
nothing. I'm not
No.
saying it.
Okay. So, how did they cut these big ass rocks? Well, they used fucking copper.
Dynamite.
Yeah, they didn't have, well, one, they didn't have dynamite, and two, they didn't have iron, which would be super
Right.
fucking helpful. So they used copper chisels, which copper's
Wow.
pretty fucking soft. But it turns out one of the documentaries I watched actually said that the copper in Egypt is like just slightly impure. It has an impurity in it, which actually made it a little bit stronger. The molecules had a stronger bond. So it was like, it wasn't just normal wussy copper. It was pretty tough copper. But then they also used these like hammer stones, which were basically just fucking rocks, and they would chisel out these things to get smooth. And it's just like truly amazing to think about.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
So we got the big rocks. We've got what they're cutting them with, or what they're chiseling with. There's also, you can see some of they have like cords, and just basically they use saws. And the thought is that they would use saws that didn't have a blade on it. It didn't have an edge, but they would throw sand in it. And the small pieces of sand is actually, they would push that down, and that would be what cut the limestone rocks. So we know who's moving it. We know what they're moving, and we know how they're like chopping it up and making it a little bit smaller. But how they're moving it is also super interesting. So we know these rocks come from all over the place, like up to how far, Nikki? Like
500 miles.
Damn, that's a lot of miles.
That's a lot of miles.
Yeah. And so they're doing that all on barges, and we know they've found remains of the barges, so we have some proof of that. And then they would bring it. Actually, they had to do some sewage work in Cairo, which like runs right up to the pyramids, and they like found out that they built these irrigation systems that would really bring the stones kind of right up to the area from far away. And then the thought is that while the Egyptians were aware of the wheel, one, they're in fucking sand, so wheels aren't going to help you out. And two, there wouldn't be any axles built for many, many moons that would be able to handle that amount of weight. So wheels aren't getting you anywhere. So they get them close enough with the big rocks from 500 miles away. They get them close enough with the barges. And then what they do is, the thought is they put them on sleds that would be able to be pulled by teams of about like 10 people, give or take. And then there's some also thought that they would, the Egyptians might have like wet the sand also to give them some more, to make it a little more slippery. Just like a good old slip and slide.
Just like that.
Again, I can't mention this enough. I'm not smart enough to cover this. Because every time I'm reading this article, I'm just like, you mean a slip and slide?
Yeah.
And the article looks back at me and says, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's generally a fair amount of agreement from scholars on most of the points that we've covered. That's the general. There's still a lot of unknowns for that stuff. I think Nikki already mentioned it, and I think this is obviously where a lot of doors to conspiracies get open, is how they lifted up them heavy ass stones so dang high.
Well, I just want to throw in real quick these groups of people that were moving. They were cutting and moving these giant rocks. They were called like gangs, which sounds kind of rough, but it was a team. But they called them gang workers, and so they were the quarry workers. They were cutting it and preparing them for shipment, and they were the ones moving them. So these were like experts. Like, these were people that they knew their job. They knew how to move rocks. And it actually comes back to the whole thing about when they were built, and these were the people that wrote the names that were on the rocks that were found inside the king's chamber, because each gang, they took a lot of pride in what they were doing, so they would write their name, and their name always included some sort of association with the king's name. So it'd be like Lord Zach and and his and his little peons working for King Khufu or whatever
Right.
they were. So that's where the names were found that were inside. That's
Whoop.
it.
No, good. Thank you, Nikki. That is important, and that will be way important in our next episode. So
Mhm.
thank you for them gang facts.
Gang facts.
Gang facts. Blah, blah. So back to lifting up heavy old stones. So we're going to cover three theories pretty quickly. The first theory is the external ramp theory. So the first, it's just like it sounds. There's a big old ramp that's outside the pyramid, and people are just dragging it up the ramp. The problem with this is people, not me, did the math on this, and they figured for the size of those rocks, the maximum amount of slope that you can have on a ramp is 8% for it to be possible to pull the rocks up. So to do that, the external ramp would have to be a mile long, and to build a mile-long ramp would roughly take the same amount of time as building a
just
goddamn
as big
pyramid.
of a feat as building the pyramid itself.
So that one's not in vogue as much. The second theory is a crane theory. And so basically this theory is it centers on Herodotus. He wrote about these machines, and basically what they are, they're primitive cranes. So you can see, if you can Google them, because there's actually paintings of them on tomb walls, and it's they were used for raising water out of the Nile. And the idea is that they would use like hundreds of these cranes at various levels to help kind of pry the rocks out. The problem with this theory is, one, you're in Egypt and there's not enough wood to build all these devices, and two, even if there was enough wood, if they're importing it from somewhere, like, the cranes have to be sitting on something, and there's just not enough space even on the pyramid as they're building up. Obviously, as you're going up, you're getting less and less surface area, so it doesn't seem like that one is as likely. And then the third theory is going to be the internal ramp theory. And so this theory, basically, it kind of goes back to our good old ramp, our external ramp, and it uses that for the first third of the pyramid. So moving the rocks to the bottom third of the pyramid, which allows you to have a smaller ramp, and it can, they figured out that this can be done, and it wouldn't be too big of an issue. And then after you get to the second 2/3 of the pyramid, then you actually start building the ramp within the pyramid, and it kind of snakes around the pyramid with kind of special corners to help turn the rocks when they get to those corners, to make that easier. This is kind of it's the most popular theory in a lot of stuff that I looked at, and that's because there's two kind of quote unquote proofs that people are hoping kind of pan out. One is the guy who first kind of suggested this theory said, like, okay, well, if they would really do this, then there'll be these little notches on the pyramid, and they should be around like here. And then when someone was looking at the pyramids, they looked and they found these notches. And the second, and probably more important kind of evidence for this theory, is a team did kind of a scan of the pyramids, and one of the scans actually showed what kind of looked like the outline of what this internal ramp would actually look like on the side. And when it was first, they did the scan, and when they first looked at it, this theory wasn't out, so it just kind of looked like an outline or going around it, so they didn't pay much attention to it. But After this guy kind of came out with this theory, they've kind of been clinging on to that as their secondary proof. So for the time being, it seems like our experts are going to be leaning towards the internal ramp theory, but by no means is this settled. And honestly, none of it is settled. And so that's why next episode, we will kind of we'll do a deep dive on why the pyramids were built. And that's going to really open us up into some fun theories.
Woohoo! Yeah, can't wait.
Woo!
Yeah.
So
I've already read 2 books written by contributors to Ancient Aliens, so you can see where it's going. It'll be fun. Lots of fun. You guys don't watch that show, do you?
What show?
Ancient Aliens.
No.
I've seen a couple episodes, but
I know the guy.
It's such a cool show.
He's like a meme.
Giorgio Tsoukalos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Khufu.
I like his name.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
So that is our episode. Our first episode on the Great Pyramids.
I am so proud of us. We're only at 53 minutes, and a lot of it is getting cut.
You can fill the rest of it with the walk like an Egyptian.
Oh, God.
Or Habazah.
No. Why do we have to mention a 90s song every time?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't even know if they're 90s.
I have no idea.
I think Walk Like an Egyptian is like 70s, right?
Yeah, I was
Is
gonna
it?
say that one's a little bit older.
Hang on, I'll Google it.
Our Google master at work.
Yes. I don't know.
The Bangles. God, how can you not? It came out in 86.
Okay.
Close.
I was
Close.
6 years old. You were not close. It was not the 70s.
No, I said the 90s.
Oh, okay. You were close.
It's goddamn in the middle of both of those.
But if you say it's the 70s, I was 6 years old. I don't want to be close to the 70s.
You were born in 1980, right?
Which is close to 1990.
Oh my. No, wait, you were born in 1980?
Yeah.
Are you turning 39?
Yeah.
No, you're not. Yes,
Yeah.
You are. Yes, you are.
I totally am.
So I think that's what we need to do. Like every couple weeks or months, we pay another random person $5 and we get a new intro.
I think that's a brilliant idea, Nikki.
Anybody listening out there want to make an intro for us? No matter what
Yeah.
it says, we will play it.
Yes.
We have no self-esteem.
Yes.
Philip, Nikki, and Zach are dumb. This is our new theme song. Okay.
I really like that song, Zach.
Thanks. Pay me $5 for it.
I will.
Waddle, waddle, waddle.
God damn it, Duck. Okay. So, thank you everyone for listening to us tonight. Make sure you follow us on all the social medias, and by all of them, I mean really just Instagram. You don't have to follow us on it. We're there.
No,
But
boycott Facebook. Get the hell off Facebook.
Oh, we don't even have a Facebook.
Yeah,
we
because
don't
we
have
are-
Facebook.
Facebook is the Walmart of social media.
I mean, Facebook owns Instagram, I think.
It does, but it's cooler.
Fuck you, Facebook. Go to Instagram. So, add a briefcase pod. Make sure if you tag your friends in any of our photos, I will mention you on one of our podcasts. I pinky promise. And we'll remind you in that. And then also, you obviously heard at the beginning of our episode, we have a theme song. We want to give
Yeah.
a big a big shout out to Broadcast King. We are a DIY do it yourself group here. It's just the three of us working on this, and we did not know how to make a theme song, so I took myself to Fiverr and found Broadcast King and asked him to make us an awesome rap theme song with Elmo singing. Not, and to be fair, for copyright reasons, it's not Elmo spelled the regular way. It's Alma.
There you go.
Is-
Yeah, it's Red Puppet Kid.
Yeah, Red Puppet Kid. Red Puppet Kid sings our theme song. Please don't sue us, Disney Channel.
Yeah, HBO, right? Don't they own that?
Does the Henson Company own the Muppets? They must not, because you're right. Because HBO
Yeah,
has
HBO bought Sesame Street, but I don't know about Henson.
because Disney bought Henson.
Company.
Okay. Yeah, so they own the Muppets proper, but I think they're separate.
Yeah,
actually.
I believe so.
So yeah, go on Fiverr if you need any someone to do weird stuff for you. You can find a bunch of stuff. Not a paid ad, just they have helped us out. Several are obviously with our theme song and then our logo as well. So you can do a bunch of cool things.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. You can even get your homework done for you.
Yeah. I might be jumping on there and doing homework as long as you're in 4th grade and below. I can definitely help you out
You
there.
can whip that out.
Whip that out. Give me 3 or 4
also,
hours.
I do want to say real quick. So we are at some point hoping to do like interviews with people. Might actually have 1 or 2 in the next couple episodes. Not sure when, but we want to hear your stories. Like any weird stories. Have you ever seen a UFO? Have you been abducted? Did you run across Bigfoot in the woods? Let us know. You can just DM us on Instagram. Or we do have an email. What is it? briefgazeintotheabyss@gmail.com.
Yep.
Was I supposed to give that out?
Yeah, no, sure.
That way they can.
It's just going to be blowing up now, Nikki.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure. Also, we're on Tumblr. If you're still if you're on there, you could. It's just a brief gaze pod on Tumblr, so you can message on there as well. So it'd be cool. I would love to hear from you guys.
Talk to us. We're lonely.
We are.
Oh,
lonely.
All right, Philip. Say goodnight.
Good night, everybody.
All right. And remember, believe in yourself.
And aliens.
And Khufu.